Hello, I'm Joan. I'm a Canadian family physician who also works as a restorative medical educator, facilitator, and coach. I create spaces that rehumanize the work of healthcare. I'm creating this podcast to remind myself, as well as anyone else working in a helping profession, that when you are working and caring for your human patients, you are the other human in the room. Before we dive into this week's episode, a quick note for all the healthcare humans out there. If you're doing everything right and still feel yourself exhausted, skipping meals, pushing through headaches, or always feeling behind, this might be for you. I'm hosting a weekly webinar throughout the month of June called Creating Space, Building Your Workday Around Your Body's Capacity. We'll explore the hidden ways we've been taught to ignore our bodies in healthcare and how you can start reshaping your workday to actually fit your real capacity instead of trying to meet all the absurd, inhuman expectations of the system. You'll walk away with a simple, practical framework and real-life examples from clinicians who've made it work. I'll also share more about my Creating Space course and retreat, where you can take this work deeper in real time with me. There are 4 dates to choose from, so go to joanchanmd.com/webinar to sign up for the one that works best for your schedule. Hope to see you there. Hey there, healthcare humans. Welcome to a very special episode of The Other Human in the Room, where the room I am in by myself is the room I've been staying for the past 3 nights, and it's this beautiful hotel suite in the Millcroft Inn, where I am just finished up my very first retreat, my first restorative medical education retreat. I had this idea this morning. I thought I'd probably want to at least journal or record some kind of reflection at some point. And then I realized I brought my laptop and I don't have my microphone. So it's like laptop microphone quality. But I really wanted to share sort of some fresh reflections that are coming to me now. As it's the Monday morning, just finished breakfast with the amazing group of women who spent the last 4 days, 3 nights alongside me in this beautiful place. And I wanted to record the fresh reflections for myself. And also, I think they will hopefully be encouraging and beneficial and restorative for you too. So maybe I'll just say a little bit about what's happened. No specific details, of course, I'm not going to share what people shared. I'm not going to share the identities of the people, none of that. Of course, that's all kept in confidence and sacred. But I want to describe a little bit of this room that I'm in for those that are listening. And maybe as I do so, just as a beginning, I'll also, for those that are watching on YouTube, do a mini tour of my room so you just get a sense of the place. So for those listening, I'm sitting on a giant, I don't know, would it be queen or king bed? I don't know, large bed, very comfy, very cozy, cozy pillows that I got to sort of luxuriate in and have many lie downs and naps during the day in, which that always just feels so delicious. And then here, I'll give you a little peek of the rest of the room here. So we got some nice chairs and a couch over there. I asked for the concierge to bring me a kettle and some herbal tea because they have a lovely Nespresso machine in the room, but they don't have stuff for the decaf tea lovers like myself. But the real pièce de resistance, how do you say that? The real show is not the very cozy room, though. Very cozy room, softest robe. I'm just showing you on the bed. That's my extremely soft, cozy robe that I definitely wore outside when I walked over to where the spa is multiple times, and that was a fun experience. But okay, can you see it? I wonder if it'll let you see outside. I don't know if it's going to adjust. Oh, there you go. For those that are watching, that is the view from outside my window, and for those listening, it's just a beautiful, mostly still just small ripples of I think they call it a pond, but I think it's technically a river. There's Muskoka chairs on the opposite bank and beautiful trees, and it's just a shiny day. There was some reality show drama with some Canadian geese on and off, and I had my windows open at night to hear all the beautiful sounds of nature. And then over on my other window, you'll see, so, they call it's Millcroft Inn. It's because it's like a mill or whatever, so therefore it has a waterfall. And I'll just quickly open this. I realized I had to shut it for the quality of the sound for most of it, but just to hear. So that was can you hear that? I hope you can hear that. We'll see. What I'm hoping you hear is the sound of the rushing water from the waterfall. And I actually always sleep with white noise. And so it was so nice to, instead of having to put on a white noise track, I just opened my window and had natural white noise of a beautiful waterfall directly outside my window every night with the cool breeze coming in. That was actually just so delicious and delightful. So that's now you're oriented to where I am in space and the room that I'm in right now. And yeah, that's where I've spent. We got here on Friday, and check-in was mid-afternoon, and so we had some time to each settle into our rooms, and then when people wanted to, we met up. And I've been so anticipating some of these folks I've met in real life because they live close to me or whatever, but a lot of them I'd never met before, and some of them I have been in some amount of connection with, friendship or coaching relationship for years. So the act of actually meeting them in the 3D embodied flesh it was just so special. And the interesting thing is the main somatic experience I had was just immediate familiarity, because sometimes you think whoa, I don't really know you in real life or something, but I think it's just something about when you're facilitating coaching, and you do have a real sense of closeness with that person, and a sense of trust, and it's honestly such a beautiful thing to experience, even from my point of view, and hopefully it's beautiful and helpful for them too. And so seeing them in person, the only thing was who was shorter than who. That's always whoa, because everyone seems the same height when you're talking to them on Zoom. That was really cool. And then we just had really delicious meals together. The food here is incredible. It's tasty gourmet. So it's something that's oh, I wouldn't make this for myself. This is fancier than I make for myself. But it was but it also wasn't fussy. It was just rustically gourmet delicious. And so we'd meet over meals, and sometimes we'd have coaching exercises I had sort of designed to sort of invite different kinds of deeper conversations, and those felt fun. And sometimes we just were having lovely learning about each other and life conversations, and that was really fun. And then so on the Saturday morning we had a beautiful 3-hour somatic sort of restorative yoga, parasympathetic engagement. I don't know, all these sorts of words were part of from this wonderful person, Kristen Honey, who is my somatic facilitator. I meet with her in a therapeutic context once every week or so, and do all different kinds of therapy with her. And so I'm so grateful that she said yes to come and lead this workshop, and starting off the weekend with, even just for me to really deeply connect with my body, because I have a tendency whenever I'm with other people, especially new people and in some kind of social space, but certainly in this case when I'm the host of it, I was noticing an old sort of story of wanting to dissociate from my body, instead kind of be the hoverer, caretaker, worry what people were thinking, worrying if people were having a good time thing. And I didn't want that to be my experience, and I am aware that it's not actually that even helpful of a posture for the other people. And so the idea of the very first thing we did was this wonderful workshop where we just deeply got into our body in all these cool different ways. It was so good. And then I felt that just again set that beautiful tone. The afternoons, I had nothing specific planned. Instead, people could just sort of choose their own adventure, what they wanted to do. They could walk on the trails, they could have a nap, they could read a book, they could meet and socialize. And then there's a spa here, so they could either pay for their own spa services, but also everyone had access to these spa waters, sort of in that Scandinavian style, where you can have the really hot tub or sauna, and then you do the cold plunge, and then you do the medium temperature rest. And of course, all of it's optional. You don't have to do the cold plunge. But doing that with them, and kind of shrieking together in the cold part and really enjoying, and then sweating the hot parts, that was so nice to do in the afternoons, and just have it be free, open space. Something when I was designing the retreat is I noticed the impulse to try and fill it full so it was like, quote unquote, like worth the money or whatever. And so thankfully I had the whole ethic of the course and the ethic of what I'm doing here to guide me to say, make it super spacious. Make people actually maybe a bit uncomfortable, like, oh no, I have to check about what I want. Oh no, I have to like, tune in and make a decision without anyone guiding me. And like, if that felt uncomfortable, that was sort of part of the purpose and could be really a meaningful experience for them to have with themselves if they wanted to, right? So those are the afternoons, and then we'd have a lovely dinner together and then just some social time. And for the social time, like I brought my ukulele, and then a couple other people enjoy playing musical instruments, so they brought some instruments, including a guitar and a trumpet, which like, yes, it was so, and we like hearing a trumpeter play Pink Pony Club is got to be like a highlight of my year. That was so good. It's just one little detail. And just like spending time socially with each other, really lovely. And then having just a beautiful night to sleep. And then yesterday morning was my workshop, and it was interesting. I'd thought of so many different things I could do for my workshop. Like there's so many different ideas of how you can like facilitate deeper reflection or expansion or curiosity in people, and I've really loved learning all these different ways. But what I ended up coming up with was like, I like literally just like it came to me, like I feel like it was this little creative spark. Though I've heard versions of it, like I really just created this version of it, which was like a version of visioning or dream casting, but really like thinking about like, what are the moments of your life that if it was, if you had a highlight reel at the end of your life, what moments do you think will be on that highlight reel that you'll just feel like are those shining jewel moments of your life here on earth, and including ones that have already actually happened, but then also including ones that haven't happened yet, but that you're really noticing something inside of you saying, I want that experience to be in my highlight reel. Like this is what I'm dreaming for myself in the future. And that was so beautiful to just witness everyone getting in touch with some of their dreams, past, present, and future, and then doing it myself. I was like, this is a good exercise. I'm having a good time doing it, which is how I always know, which that's how I guide all my decisions is, will I have a good time doing it? And that being true here too. And that's like the main reflection. Like I wanted to share a bit of like, hey, this is what happened. So maybe just to finish that out, but I'm going to circle back to the theme of dreams, because it was like a whole meta moment that kept happening the entire weekend. But anyway, so we did the workshop on the Sunday morning, and then afternoon again, fully open space, could do the waters if you want, could do whatever you want. I decided I wanted to spend, I showed you the Muskoka chairs across the water there. I sat in one of those and I like brought my ukulele and I just played and sang like for myself for like over an hour actually, and it just felt so good. There's certain songs that just like resonate in my core. I don't even know what to say, but like they feel good. They feel like it like opens up like a glowing flame of joy and pleasure in my chest. Like that literally is what it feels like when I sing those specific songs. It like not scratches an itch, because that feels like it's harming, but it just like soothes and opens and glows in something inside of me. And I just like let myself sit by the water and have the trees at my back rustling, and not even thinking if people were looking at me or not, but really just being like, I am here and I'm just having this beautiful moment. And that just felt so special. And then, and then the evening we had another beautiful social time, lots of laughs, some tears. And then this morning, a goodbye breakfast, and now we're done. And I feel good. I feel like 3 nights away from your regular life, and sort of 4 days, if you could say, is just a really wonderful amount of time to spend. It felt spacious. I heard from others, at least some that shared with me, really felt like that was such a great amount of time. You really could actually relax into the space versus already prepping your trip home, it was just so meaningful for me to be with these magical people. Like, I love doing this work. I love creating this podcast for all of you who listen. I love coaching those of you who I coach, and I love seeing the like impact and the transformation, and it is the way that I really believe is my contribution to shifting healthcare, shifting the system in the direction of like our own humanity. It's like my contribution to that, and so it's got this sort of higher purpose, meaningful piece, which is important to me. But like at a deeper and more basic level, I absolutely am doing this because it allows this portal for like magical people to come into my life, and then I get to spend time with them and get to know them, and that is like, and that it gets to be resourced by, you know, the money, you know, that it gets to be the sustainable thing for me and for like the project, because I earn income through it as well. Like, it is so magic. Like, it is so good. Just like the people around this table are just each in their own like incredible, unique way, so magical, so beautiful and human, and on beautiful journeys of, you know, rediscovering themselves and rehumanizing themselves and their ecosystems in ways that they may not even perceive. But I'm just seeing it, and it's like, are you kidding me? This gets to be part of my work. And that just brings me back to really the main takeaway I wanted to share on this podcast, because like it really feeds into even like what the workshop was a bit about, and like the thing that I think makes coaching so important and so valuable and so magical for me, certainly, is like the idea that your life isn't fixed, that your path isn't predestined and determined by the systems and powers that be, that you don't have to feel stuck and trapped. You can dream possibilities for yourself, and not just dream them, but then literally turn them into reality. And that's the thing that I kept kind of having little moments of like, holy crap, like the whole weekend. And I have on right now, again, I'll show it I have on one of my Taylor Swift Eras Tour bracelets. This is one I made for myself, but then absolutely did not want to trade with anyone. It's from pretty much my favorite Taylor Swift song, though that changes mine, from Speak Now. And it says, "Can you believe it?" And it was just like my little talisman. Sometimes I'd look down at it and be like, you know, I'd be sitting sharing laughter and stories with these magical human beings that all said yes to coming to this retreat with me, and I'd be like, can you believe it? And like the answer being, yeah, it's happening. This is real life. This is like my reality. And I think back on myself, you know, especially in 2020 and 2021, such intense years for basically everyone on the planet, and myself included. And the first little glimmer, feeling so trapped and feeling so overwhelmed and feeling so like having a lot of like, you could say at the time positive, like I was doing a lot, I was involved in a lot, I still am so honored and proud of, you know, things I was a part of then, like the vaccine clinic and all the stuff I was doing. It's not like crapping on it, it's not about that, it's just like, but I remember how I felt inside and how it felt so like, I have to keep going. I have to keep churning out to try and do my best for everything that feels so out of control. It wasn't like I need to catch up to be with my peers and be successful, but it was like there is so much bad happening right now, and there's so many very alarming, urgent things that need our attention, and I'm going to pour myself into all these different things, and then being really alarmed when it's like things aren't getting better fast enough, and some things seem to be getting worse, and I am like drained, and I see that like in my life I have so many things that I'm doing worse because I'm stretched way too thin, you know. And then having that bit of a journey, and shout out to Charting Champions, Sarah Smith, who has been on this podcast, and who I hope I've said it enough times on this podcast, like her course was my first sort of introduction to coaching. And she came up a lot this weekend because I'm not the only one who's done it in this group. And just like that first sort of building block of I can change something in my life. So for me, it was my charts. Like I can get to a place where I'm finishing each chart after each patient, and I can get to a place where I don't do paperwork at night. And then then I can get to a place where I don't open my EMR unless I'm at the clinic. That one came a bit, well, actually, I would say a number of years later, especially when I hired my NPs who could help with, the days I'm not in clinic. Anyways, what I'm saying is like the real initial amazing, can you believe it? Before, I just didn't even have it as an option for myself. The inhuman story is that you aren't in control, and all you can do is try to drain yourself, trying to force and lurch big forces towards something good, and then just railing against the system when it's going the wrong way and feeling so helpless, But the notion that there is a way, there's even a methodology, there's a path that can lead me to changing my own life, even if the outside world doesn't change, even if the system doesn't catch up. And then the second piece that came later for me was and that is the only contribution to system change that if I only focus on that is hugely impactful. And that can be all I focus on, is making my life better can make the system better, And so that's just remarkable to reflect on, and how that led me to doing coaching training. And there's this one moment from one of the coaching certifications I did, which it doesn't exist anymore, which is sad. But the version that I did, you go through this material and you're with the same group for 6 months. It's sort of interesting, similar to how most of the people at this retreat were with me for 6 months going through. And then right at the end, there was this really beautiful exercise, which is write a letter from your future self to yourself. And I was looking for it, but I can't find it. I might have handwritten it, so it's on some journal at home. But I remember, the part that I remember came through the clearest, and was my first sort of spark of the dream that led to here. Was so I was writing from a future point, being hey, you have a successful coaching business, you are doing all these things. I forget what else I was imagining myself doing, some of which I've done, and I think some of which I haven't done. But one thing is you will always remember the first time you host your own retreat and have really amazing people coming to you and thanking you with tears in their eyes for how you sharing your humanity helped them to connect with your humanity. And I can't say I had that exact moment of a tears in your eyes thanking situation, but I did have people coming to me and sharing how what I've shared has helped them. We've had tears, many tears. I've had hugs, and it's been in this retreat that I created. And the interesting thing is I might have thought that it was supposed to happen sooner. I wrote that letter, I guess it would be in 2022, and right now it's 2025. 3 years, which is in the course of a lifetime, not even that long of a time. But I actually have been experimenting and exploring ways to do this retreat for well over a year, and in talks with other people. How can I do it? Just really trying to feel my way to how it could be a reality. And I just have so much gratitude for all those past me's that didn't try and force it, that didn't view the first time I tried to organize it and it didn't work out as evidence that it wouldn't happen, that didn't, doubt myself and second guess myself to the point where I wouldn't even put it out there. When I decided to open up and design creating space and have this retreat, I didn't have tons of data that people would want to join and have it be successful. I had some hints, I had some guesses, and it felt like the right time, but it wasn't I had a billion people banging down my door being you need to do a retreat or else. I wasn't sure. I really didn't know how many people would want to come. And but I had enough of an inkling, and I don't even know how to say, it's not it was quantifiable, but I'd felt my way through enough iterations, and I had done sort of practice pieces. It's actually kind of remarkable looking back over the past 3 years and how it was sort of life gave me the curriculum that allowed me to show up to this weekend so present, fully open, simply enjoying, including my moments of anxiety and, worry or whatever. But like, honestly, I have had such a good time this weekend. And I witnessed in the people who were here, they had a good time too. And I held space for them. But it didn't feel like work or a chore. Like, it was for me too. Like, we just had this good time together. And my past self, I'm so grateful for doing all the work so that I could actually relax and enjoy and be an example, and and offer a space for them to do the same, and to teach some specific things that really help me, and do some coaching, but have it not be like all about me either. Because that's what I had in my mind. It would have to be a certain way where I'm really in charge of micromanaging, and just like all the work that I've done, and even like literally bringing up my somatic experiencing therapist so that it would not be that way. So I can instead like deeply connect with my body in a room with everyone else having the experience of connecting with their body. Like, honestly, the brilliance of my design, which was really just like feeling it out. I just need to congratulate myself. I did a good job. Like, I'm like, wow, I want to do this again. I want to do this every year. And I heard some lovely feedback that it seems like people would be interested in coming again. And I'm hopeful that others will want to join. And I just think back on like the spark of that idea 3 years ago. And I didn't know all the details, and I didn't have to have a plan. And if I'd had a plan, it would have like failed spectacularly. And like, I've made multiple possible plans that have failed spectacularly, but all I needed to do was like hold this hope and this dream in my heart, and really trust that it was inevitable, that it would happen. And all I had to do was move in the direction of it, one step at a time, one tiny experiment at a time, which, if you've worked with me, is my methodology. And if you've heard me on the podcast, I talk about all the time. Like, we don't have to have the full map. We can't have the full map. Actually, I had an experience this weekend where I was trying to follow the map around the trails and got very angry at the map, and had like sort of this reflective moment of like, I'm angry at this map because it doesn't seem to be matching my reality. Put away the map. And then just followed the trail and was like, this is good. I don't need the map. And it just felt like a deep metaphor for this whole project of like creating this retreat. And it feels so good. And if you're listening to this and you're like, must be nice to feel so good or whatever, well, is that an invitation for you to open yourself up to feeling even a little bit more goodness, including maybe coming to my retreat next year, but also whatever else, little mini version of that retreat, right? Like, for me, I think if I'd done this retreat 2 years ago, I didn't yet know as well how to have a good time, by which I mean how to really open myself to experiencing pleasure in my body. That's been a whole process. Learning how to rest, like, that's been something that's been coming to me in stages and practices, like I talk about in my rest course. Like, these are things like they happen incrementally over time, and they can happen in one big fell swoop on like an incredibly transformative weekend. But I also think for me, it was every little and big aha moment that I've had before then that's led to me having like such a delicious time this weekend. And I'm curious, like, what will it feel like next year? Will it feel even more good somehow? I can't even imagine, but like, I'll hold the option as a possibility of like what else could come through. Not always seeking more, but like, how much more connected to myself might I feel, and or like, how much more capacity maybe will I have for pleasure, for joy, for rest, because of everything that I've offered to myself over the year. Perhaps it won't feel better, but it will feel more familiar, and it'll feel like, yes, I know how to do this, and then I'll sink into it in a way that even feels less resistance. I don't know. Like, these are like, I guess I'll let you know next year. And I mostly just feel like deep gratitude for my past selves for getting me here. Like, definitely giving a bunch of them high fives right now in my mind, and picturing like this becoming some kind of annual pilgrimage retreat situation. And I don't have to know the details of what it will look like over time. Like, will it grow bigger? I don't know if I want that. There's something very special about it being a single long table of people all connecting. So, I mean, watch the space for how that feels good to have happen. But just to have it be, you know, people, maybe some people will come back year over year. Maybe some people will come once and that will be like a meaningful spot on their journey. I have no idea. And I don't have to know. But so it's interesting, like when you're holding space for dreams, especially if you're kind of like, maybe have perfectionistic tendencies, type A personality, high anxiety, etc., which is very me, I guess past me really. You want to know exactly how it's going to go and like try and control the outcome. But for me, what I know that has been the best way to actually have dreams become reality is to really focus on the feeling of the dream, the essence of the why. Like, why did I want to retreat? I wanted a space for people to encounter themselves and their bodies in a context of rest and pleasure and discovery. I wanted that for myself and for the people I was like hosting. And that was sort of the underlying ethos of the whole weekend, and how that would lead people to opening up themselves to new possibilities and creating little moments of this in their regular life. That was the goal. And so no matter what it looks like from the outside in years to come, I will know I've been a success if it continues to feel that way on the inside. And maybe it can take different shapes, but still feel that way on the inside. I'm excited to try those experiments, including ones that may fail and ones that may succeed. And that's going to be how it goes, right? And it'll never be perfect. And that's because perfection is an inhuman story and is unnecessary, really. Okay, I think that's the main things I wanted to share. I guess the last thing I'll share, but I don't have it around me. Okay, hold on. Let me just go grab my poetry notebook, because I had this little poetry notebook that I've been like handwriting poems, including some of my own, but then mostly like other people's that I really like. And there was one that really, it was sort of interesting. Very last minute, I felt like, ooh, I want to add it into my dreams workshop. And it feels like important for me to share right now. I'm not sure why. So I'll go get it. And here it is. Okay. Will I edit this out? Honestly, probably not. There was a moment, some pause and space. So here's my little notebook. It's TTPD, Torture Poets Department notebook with little poems in it, all different kinds. And so the one that I read that just felt like it felt like an opening for other people, and certainly felt like an opening for me too. So it's by, I think you would say it Anais Nin or Anais Nin. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I apologize. And the title of it is Risk, and it's a short one. And then the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And as I was sort of saying, you know, when we think about dreams, it's okay if there's dreams that are still buds. It's okay if there's dreams that are still becoming. That's actually, we find that piece and the pain and the discomfort of it not being a reality. We can find that so hard that we just stop dreaming at all. But I'm here to tell you that if you actually start to have a good time in that messy middle space and go, yeah, I got a couple buds in here. I got some things that are half bloomed. I got that little plant over there that bloomed and then withered and died, and it's clearly supposed to be compost for something else. Like, when you start to shift your relationship to the becoming, that's when your dreams will absolutely start to become reality. Because the birthing process of a dream to a reality involves a lot of mess and a lot of discomfort. And it's so worth it because, you know, you get to spend a 3-night retreat at a fancy spa inn that's funded by the beautiful humans who said yes to coming here and having this experience with you, and it's technically your job. Like, that's what gets to happen. when you learn to have a different relationship with the becoming and with the messy middle and with the doubts and with all of the false starts and the failures, and if you really just hold the little bud of the beautiful bloom to come in your heart and you practice it as often as you can, it just is actually a stunning process. So, question for you, dear podcast listener. What are some of your buds that are maybe getting ready to get some fertilization? Maybe starting to do a little uncomfortable, messy blooming? I'm just here cheering them on. And, if you ever want to work with me in them, I got a retreat next year. Creating Space is going to start again in the fall. I have Voxer coaching if you ever want it in the meantime. I have my ways that allow me to offer containers to those who wish to say yes to them, to foster new possibilities. And if not me, go find someone. What if you really gave some space to your dreams, to those buds that are wanting to bloom? I know you can do it. All right. Talk to you next time. I would love to take this work deeper with you. Visit joanchanmd.com today and discover my growing menu of options for restorative medical education to suit your learning needs. I offer one-on-one coaching, customized workshops, and self-study courses that allow you to connect not only with my work on a deeper level, but also with other healthcare humans just like you. So if you want to start humanizing your work in healthcare to a deeper level and do it in community with others, please visit joanchanmd.com and find those options and what fits you and your life today.